Hello students, in this video we are going to start a new lesson about decimal numbers. This will be the first part of this lesson. In this part we are going to introduce the tenths. Here in this figure we have a rectangle that is divided into 10 equal parts. As you see here we have 10 equal parts. Let's remember that a rectangle here is the chosen unit, is the one whole that we chose. And one whole or one unit is equal to the number 1. This whole rectangle is equal to 1. Now if we color one piece, this piece represents the fraction 1 over 10 or 1/10. The fraction 1 over 10 can be written in the form of a number. Let's see how do we find this number. We are going to learn how to write the fraction 1 over 10 in another form of a number called a decimal number. Let's see how. First, let's ask this question. Is one part enough to make a whole rectangle? This one piece colored in red, is it enough to make a whole rectangle? Of course not. One piece is not enough. We actually need 10 parts. We need to color 10 parts to make a whole rectangle. So the fraction 1 over 10, of course, it's not equal to 1. It represents a quantity much less than 1. So let's compare 1/10 and 1. Of course, 1/10 is less than 1. So this is the first time that we see numbers that are less than 1, of course, greater than 0. So these numbers, yes, they exist. And this is the first time that we will see them. So 1 over 10 represents a number that is less than 1. 1 over 10 is equal actually to 0 whole rectangle and one piece of the rectangle out of 10. So with one piece we can make 0 whole rectangle and one piece of the rectangle out of 10 will remain. So 1 over 10 it's equal to 0.1. What do we mean by 0.1? We read it 0 whole rectangles and one piece of the rectangle out of 10. So 0 is how many whole rectangle we can make. The point is to separate between how many whole rectangle we can make and the pieces out of 10 that will remain. The point is a separator between the whole units and the pieces out of 10. We read it 0.1. In 0.1, 0, we said it's how many whole rectangles, how many whole units we can make. So we call it the ones digit. It's the ones digit that we know from earlier. Now the point is the separator. We call it decimal point. And the 0 here, this fraction we read it 1/10. It's one piece out of 10. So this one we call it the 10th digit. How many pieces out of 10 we have. And 0.1 is called a decimal number. This is a new form of numbers that we learned this year. And 0.1 is greater than 0 but less than one whole rectangle less than 1. Now if we color two pieces, these two pieces will represent the fraction 2 over 10. 2/10 is equal to the decimal number 0.2. If we color three pieces, we obtain the fraction 3/10, which is equal to 0.3. 4 pieces out of 10 is equal to the fraction 4/10. which is equal to the decimal number 0.4. And if we color 5 pieces, these 5 pieces, they represent the fraction 5/10, which is equal to the decimal number 0.5. If you notice here, we still can't make a whole rectangle. These 5 pieces are not enough. So we can make 0 whole rectangle, and 5 pieces out of 10 will remain. So that's why here 0.5 is like half of a rectangle. Now if you color 6 pieces, 6 over 10, it's equal to the decimal number 0.6. And after 0.6, we have the decimal number 0.10, which is equal to 7/10. And after 7/10, we have 8/10, which is equal to 0.8. And after 8/10, we have 9/10, which is equal to the decimal number 0.9. So here we still didn't make a whole rectangle yet. Now, the number 0, if we have 0 pieces colored out of 10, we actually can write it in the form of the fraction 0 over 10. 0 pieces out of 10, it's equal to 0. So 0 over 10, it's equal to 0.0. We can make 0 whole rectangles, and we have 0 pieces out of 10, which is equal to 0. Remark, any fraction whose numerator is 0 is equal to 0. Now, if we color 10 pieces out of 10, we obtain the fraction 10/10, which is equal to what actually? Here we notice that we made a whole rectangle. So it's equal to 1 whole rectangle, and how many pieces out of 10 will remain? Of course, 0. 10 over 10 is equal to 1.0, which is actually equal to one whole unit. Attention, in this figure, just after 0.9, just after 9/10, which is equal to 0.9, comes the number 1 or 1.0, not 0.10, so be careful. 10 over 10 is not equal to 0.10, because 0.10 means actually 0 whole rectangles and 1 piece out of 10, which is wrong. Here we made a one whole rectangle, not 0 whole rectangles, so be careful. Exercise, write in the form of a decimal number. Now here we have a number written in words, 3/10. 3/10 is equal to the fraction 3 over 10. And we just learned that the fraction 3 over 10 is equal to the decimal number 0.3. So here we cannot write 3/10 as the answer, because they want us to write it in the form of a decimal number, not in the form of a fraction. Now 6/10 is equal to the fraction 6 over 10, which is equal to the decimal number 0.6. Now 8/10, it's equal to the fraction 8 over 10, which is equal to the decimal number 0.8. Now 10/10, it's equal to the fraction 10 over 10, which is equal to the decimal number 1.0, which is equal to 1. Now if you want to find the number equal to 10 over 10, you can also divide 10 by 10. The over is also, you can read it also as divided by. 10 divided by 10, it's equal to 1. When you divide a number by itself, it's equal to 1 always. To understand this concept of decimal numbers better, let's see visually figures representing the numbers from 0 till 1.9. So here I have 0 whole square colored and 0 pieces colored. So they represent the number 0.0 or 0. Now if I color one piece out of 10, we obtain the decimal number 0.1. Here we didn't color this whole square, so it's 0 whole squares. If I color 2 pieces out of 10 pieces, we obtain the decimal number 0.2, then 3 pieces 0.3, 4 pieces 0.4. If I color 5 pieces, we obtain the decimal number 0.5, then 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. Now, if I color 10 pieces out of 10, it means we are coloring a whole square. So here we obtain a whole square. So the decimal number here in this case is 1.0. We will be forming a whole square, and 0 pieces out of 10 are colored. So we obtain the decimal number 1.0, or we can also write 1 only. Now, if I color one whole square and one piece out of 10 from another identical square, we obtain the decimal number 1.1, which is greater than 1 square. Then, if I color one square and 2 pieces out of another identical square, we obtain the decimal number 1.2, then 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8. Then, if we color one whole square and 9 pieces out of 10 of another identical square, we will obtain the decimal number 1.9. So here we have one whole unit and 9 pieces out of 10, and we separated them by this decimal point. So this is the end of this first part. Thank you for watching.